Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. In this video, I'm going to talk about reasons why the 20s fashion was terrible for romantics. Here, I'm specifically talking about romantics from the Kibbe types. If you do not know about the Kibbe types, basically they are inspired from Hollywood archetypes, and we have different types of category based on how feminine or masculine the features look. On the yang side, we have more sharpness, more angle, more length, and those are characterized by dramatics. And on the yin type, on the yin end of it, you have more roundness, more voluptuousness, and more curves in general, both for the body and the face. Let's also speak about fashion in the 20s. In the 20s, women were more free and they were done with all the restriction of the different types of Victorian era type of clothing. So now they were ready to have more casual types of outwear. They were ready to have more casual dresses, more skin showing, the hair was, worn shorter or wrapped. And so for that reason, it is characterized as an era where women were more androgenic. It's also an era where Coco Chanel had a lot of influence with the garçon fashion, with, less restriction, less of those, stereotypical type of clothes where women would have to basically, restrict their waist and so on to have that hourglass shape that not all women have naturally. So all those things are slowly starting to disappear, and now we let place for more casual types of outwear. Another element that's also really clever about that era is also because women were now wearing sportswear. Now women were not typically known to play a lot of sport, but because they wanted more freedom, now they had those type of outfit that were really similar to what men were wearing. The hats were also getting smaller. So overall, that era is characterized by more casualness, by more freedom, more flowiness, and less restriction. The first reason why I believe that this looks doesn't really work well on romantics is because romantics aren't typically known and appreciated when they are too casual because of the characteristics of their features, especially when it comes to the roundness and how voluptuous they look. Romantics tend to not look their best when they are too casual, unlike naturals or dramatics. The thing about being a romantic is that people expect what your natural essence is, which is more glamour, more style, more femininity overall. So when you look at the different types of element that we see in the fashion in the 20s, is that first of all, the dresses tend to have the waistline much lower. It's not really at the waist actually, it's basically at the hip. That's really not flattering, but it is really casual and it does look more comfortable than what women were typically wearing back then. But because most women are not, typically romantic, it did work. The thing is, for romantics, it's not going to work really well. Another thing is also the neckline. What I've noticed about the 20s is that the neckline were usually more really, I would say, close to the neck, which is not really best things to do when you are a romantic. When you're romantic, I guess sweetheart or semi-sweetheart or Queen Anne type of necklines are much better. Obviously, I don't really expect anybody at that time to be wearing those types of neckline, but I'm just talking in terms of how fashion trends typically don't work for everybody. Another reason why I believe that fashion in the 20s was not really good for romantics is because romantics tend not to be really tall or slim. The thing is, with those type of outfits, if you look on the picture on the left, the woman, even though we don't know how tall she really is, she appears to be tall because of her vertical line. Her arms are really long, the face compared to the body looks much smaller, so all those elements work together for her to have that long appearance, which work really well on dresses that you would typically see in the 20s. The thing is, imagine Marilyn Monroe wearing the same dress. It will not technically look really good on her. Not only does she have too much curve for it, but her vertical line is really short. You could definitely tell by looking at the picture that she was on the shorter end, and also when you look at her arm, just her vertical line in general seems really short, and it would not look really flattering if she was wearing something like this. Another element is also the body. As I said, when you're wearing those type of outfits without any type of structure, somebody with too much curve is obviously going to look more round and not really defined. That's not really good for romantics overall, and that's one of the reasons why I believe these type of dresses didn't really work well on them. Another reason why I believe that the 20s fashion didn't really work well on romantics is also how the hairstyle looked. If you think of romantics, what's gonna work best for them is, hair with a lot of volume, curl, and definition to it. That whole aspect of the Hollywood curls really work well on romantics. Here I also included pictures. Don't really pay attention to the celebrities because I don't believe that all of them fall under the romantic category, but really keep attention on the hair. Doesn't matter the texture or the length, there's still that theme of overall curves, voluptuousness, that health, that femininity that we see often in Hollywood really works well on romantics. Unfortunately, in the 20s, women wanted to have not only shorter hair, but also hair that was slicked down and wrapped. So the volume was completely gone. Women were trying to be more casual and more androgenic overall. And I believe that these type of styles can look really elegant on dramatics and gamine, but unfortunately when you're a romantic you need that voluptuousness, you need those typically feminine types of feature, because when you do not wear those you actually are starting to look more boyish and really really neglected. So that's also one of the reasons why I believe that fashion in the 20s was not technically really well for romantics. Fortunately for romantics, it wasn't all bad. When I look at some of the accessories and the shoes that they were wearing, I really think that some of them actually work well on romantics, especially the little heels with, those very feminine types of design, I think work really well on romantics. I actually don't believe that romantics are usually meant to, wear those really high stilettos because they're never gonna have the long natural line anyways. Even in pictures, when you look at a romantic with really high heels, she still does have that, short girl appearance. So might as well go for the very cute feminine heels. Another element that I think is really attractive are the different types of accessories and earrings that you could find at the time. I think those work really good for romantics. I would even, challenge you to have those same earrings on a dramatic. I believe that the accessories may look better on a romantic. So there are still elements that were positive about the entire era. To end on a more positive note, I also believe that there are types who were absolutely gorgeous in 20s fashion. One of them is a dramatic. I think a dramatic, because of her long vertical line and the overall shape of the body, they will look amazing in those long, dresses that you would typically find in the 20s. Another plus is that because they don't really have, those really present shape or present curves, it doesn't really take anything out of their appearance to wear those kind of dresses. So I actually think it works really great on them. Another type for which I think it works really great are the gamines. Not necessarily for the body part of the fashion, but for the face, especially the hair. When I look at actresses like Carey Mulligan and Natalie Portman, and the similarity that they have with other gamines like Coco Chanel, I would understand why shorter hair look really beautiful on them. Those short hair that we would find in the fashion in the 20s work really well for them because it doesn't really take away from their femininity. Actually, I believe that their femininity and the feminine features of their face actually shines even more when they have shorter hair, which is absolutely beautiful. And I believe that these types actually look the best, when it comes to fashion in the 20s. If there are other types that you believe could wear, fashion in the 20s really well, tell me about it in the comment section and I'll be really happy to read them. See you in the next one.